going on, everyone? It's Daily Champs. It's June 13th. The NBA Finals just ended. There's Saquon news. There's Stephon Diggs news. It's also U.S. Open week. I'm joined with Jason Gold. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great. I got on the dad hat for you and for the U.S. Open. Time to pick some dads. Can't wait to talk about it. Let's jump right in. NBA Finals. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Nuggets won. I don't know if that was completely shocking. A little bit rough to watch the Heat there. Jimmy Butler was basically a ghost for majority of that game. What are your thoughts?
So I had the Nuggets minus 1.5 in the series. Glad that one paid off. That was probably the ugliest closing out game that I've seen since like the 2010 NBA Finals, the Lakers-Celtics, where Kobe went 6 of 24. That was a disgusting rock fight. Glad I don't have to watch any more of that. Sad the NBA season, I guess, is over, but now we're going to move into, we are like 90 days away from football. We got golf, so I'm excited to talk about that sort of stuff. Did the finals go as you anticipated?
I think so. I would have liked to see Jim. First of all, I wanted Jimmy to win. Jimmy did not deserve to win in any way last night. It was not, he was just basically not present at all. They also were like falling all over the place. Like, I don't know if they needed to clean the sweat up a little bit better or what, but it was kind of a disaster last night. My head has been kind of up golf's butt, but I did get a chance to watch the game at least. Jokic is hilarious. He's just like, I want to go home. He treats it legitimately like a 9 to 5. He's like, okay, I'm going home now. See you guys later. I don't care.
One of the funniest moments for me last night was I'm scrolling Twitter right after the game, and I see a picture of Michael Porter's butt, and I go, I bet Steph commented dumpy on this, and I scrolled down, and it was right there. I was like, of course she fucking did. This is perfect.
I saw the edit too where they made it look like he had a BBL, but I had no idea that he was packing some heat back there. Very nice part of the game. There's always some good edits when things are going on. I think Jokic is hilarious. He wants to go back to his horses. That clip where he finds out that the parade is on Friday. He's like, oh my gosh, no. Like it's just a parade. You don't even have to play in a game.
I loved him throwing Jamal Murray in the pool that they have for training in their locker room. That was great. Mike Malone egging them on. I love the brothers on the floor. The brothers are electric. The brothers are way more electric than Jokic is, and they're way a rag doll. Also, I don't know what sort of breeding's happening in that family, but both of those guys are 7 foot also, and thick boys. That is a triplet that I have never seen before. They should be playing O-line for like the Lions or something.
And they also, like, what kind of, is he going back to like tend to his horses, like feed them? Because I don't know that
he's going to race them.
He can't.
Watch that.
They're like Clydesdales. It's like Budweiser horses.
Yeah. Oh, if you saw that guy coming down Main Street in a Clydesdale, oh yeah, you stand there and watch for a little bit.
Oh my gosh. All right. What happened before we go into golf? Because that's what I really want to talk about. What happens with the Heat? Should Jimmy Butler fans be disappointed? What happened?
You know what? Trust in Eric Spoelstra, and I trust in Pat Riley. They'll be just fine. We'll see what happens in free agency. I do think that it'll probably could be a CP3 landing spot for them. But I would not be surprised to see them make some sort of big move. They got some pieces. They got Tyler Hero, who they could throw into a trade. So I would expect to see at least one big move from the Heat, but I think that Bam and Jimmy and that sort of core will stay on for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Only the second 8 seed to make the finals can be pretty happy with that. I don't think most Heat fans thought they would be there.
And 2 finals in 4 years with this core group. So You're not that far off. You're probably one injury in the finals away from having a shot to actually win this thing. So keep the core and see what happens.
All right. Golf time. U.S. Open, a major week.
Let's go.
We have not talked yet. All I know is that you don't love my drunk Bryson wager I made because you don't think he's making the cut. But look at the top of the board. Where are you at with this tournament?
Okay, so I'm going Friday. I've played this course before. It's about 5 miles from my house. I am so stoked to see this thing. The U.S. Open and their management has baked the crap out of this course. Driving this place is going to be hilarious. So It's very much set up. I know Spencer went through the whole thing with you, but it's a different audience, so I'll go through it from my perspective. Yeah, you get these really wide fairways that are similar to Augusta, but they're way more baked out, and the slope is way more.
Yeah.
You're going to have guys putting up big scores that are ending up in these barrancas, these dried out riverbeds. It's going to be tough. You will see some really good scores. The par 3 ranges from 295 to 77. Like, it's super wild. There's only 3 par 5s, so not a whole lot of scoring there. It's really long. The rough is going to be just what you would expect at a U.S. Open. So it's going to be really interesting, and it will definitely be a cerebral thinking man's course, which is why you have a guy like Bryson where, you know, you had a U.S. Open a couple years ago. I'm not saying that Bryson's dumb. He's like a scientist.
I know.
But, like, that's his old style. His new style of playing is just like, okay, I'm going to bomb it as far as I possibly can, try to chip it out of the rough, and I'll make pars and birdies. That's not going to happen here. If your drives are offline and you're hitting the ball that far, you're going to be screwed. You're putting up 6s and 7s. So that's why I think a guy like Bryson's probably screwed here. A guy like Phil, I mean, I know the Masters and whatever, but Phil's not really playing that well. I think a guy like him is probably going to struggle a lot. But, you know, if Scotty learns how to putt, he's going to win. If he doesn't, he'll still finish top 5. And then you got to figure out who else you like. Max Homa holds the course record at 61. He's the king of California. I know he hasn't played well, but that's my guy until I'm told differently. And then you start thinking about the guys that really can navigate their way across the course and hit specific spots, because if you don't on drives, these balls are going to roll across fairways and be in the rough, and you're screwed.
Yeah, I was watching, you know, the flyover yesterday, and I really wish that a certain player was playing better, because this screams Jordan Spieth to me for some reason. Like, this is
love that.
Such a Jordan Spieth course, everything about it. He's that type of guy where you look for that creativity too. He likes a good challenging course. It's exactly set up for him. I think that if he can lock in, like, be really great around the greens, he has an awesome short game. Like, this is the kind of place where he can really display what he's great at.
My only concern for him is, are you long enough for him to actually play this course and pick up shots on these par 5s? And do we get, you know, the dumb Spieth blow-up holes? Because those numbers are going to be out there for him. And I feel like Spieth is the guy who's like, okay, I played perfectly. One hole, triple bogey, totally dead.
Yeah.
If that happens, I mean, we're screwed. But if he keeps it together, I feel like a top 10 play on Spieth, I like that a lot. I think he can do it.
Yeah, he's my only non-futures bet right now. Fitzpatrick is an interesting name because he is coming back to form. You guys, braces off, you know, a little bit. It could be a movie here. Getting your braces off at 28 is pretty cool.
I did hear. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt or ruin your mojo on Fitzpatrick, but I did hear an interview he did with Barstool and Daniel Rappaport, who's his good buddy, and he was asking, "What do you think about your chances at LACC?" He goes, he didn't seem too positive about it. He's like, well, I'm going to defend either way. I don't think that he feels confident about this course at all.
Well, he also treats golf like calculus. So I think that you know, this is definitely going to play a little bit tougher than I think some people are considering. Who else? Are you looking at any of these guys? What about Rahm? Rory is your guy.
Rory, no. I'm not. I can't ever pick him to win anymore because he gets close and then he just can't do it anymore. I just don't think that he has that winning spirit that you're going to need this week. So he's out, although he'll probably finish, you know, top 10. Rahm, I love. I think this course is going to create so many meltdowns that I don't think he's going to be able to completely keep it together. Like I said, I think that Scotty, what he's able to do tee to green, you just can't beat that right now. So it's just a matter of, is his putting good enough? It doesn't have to be excellent. Everybody else is going to screw up. It's the U.S. Open. Can you keep it together enough to not make bogeys all over the place? That'll be interesting. But Scotty's a top 10 to me seems like a lock, even though I won't bet it because it's going to be, you know, less than even money on this deal. Yeah. The guy that he's not going to win, I don't think. But if Brooks is healthy in a major, how do you go against Brooks?
I just don't see him winning. I just don't see it happening.
I know that. I'm with you. But he finished T2 at the Masters.
I know.
He won the PGA. If he's healthy and playing good golf, I mean, he just has the best mentality we've seen in the sport in majors since Tiger was Tiger, basically.
I just can't do it. I don't know. I'm not there. I'll find, I think, a way, like a top something play on him. His odds are just like way too short for me to like totally back it. But I agree with you. Like he is, again, like he's back to old Brooksy, and I love that. Someone I'm staying away from because Morikawa, I just can't do it. Like something is off with him. And it's not even like statistically outside of his putting, which is complete ass. Like he has elite iron play. Like everything is kind of there for him to play well here. He withdrew from the Memorial for back spasms. I think it's, a little bit more than that. I think he's in his head a little bit.
He just doesn't have the good mojo going on right now. And you can kind of feel it with these majors. Usually there's a little bit of momentum going into these things. He so does not have it. I'm probably out on Morikawa this week as well. I wanted to ask you about your boy Dumpy. How you think he's going to do? He's the hottest player in the PGA right now.
He is. It's funny. I actually had a nightmare that there was a playoff, and I don't even know who he was against, but he couldn't get out of the bunker. And I feel like that's actually a realistic thing that could actually happen. It's the thing, because I think the bunkers here could kick his ass, but he is playing so great. I'm upset because I have a future. Like that's the first ticket I punched a while back, and his putting is great, like really strong iron play. Everything about him, he looks fantastic. He's still looking for a major win. Could he do it again, even though I think he potentially could. I'm a little bit higher on him than I think most people are.
I mean, like I just said, like momentum is a real thing coming in here. He's got to feel great about where his game is. He made that comeback 2 weeks ago to win the Memorial. I think he's got a real shot this week. My only question is, like, these LA courses seem to play very similar. Like Riviera, Bel Air, and LACC are very similar courses, all designed by the same person. Does the success correlate across the way? So a guy like Joaquin Niemann, who won at Riviera 2 or 3 years ago, does a guy like that, even though he hasn't played great on Live, does he come in and find some success here?
Yeah, I actually really like Niemann. I'm going to have a lot of exposure to him. I think that it does set up well for him, and he's been playing well when we did get an opportunity to see him. Riviera is actually the reason why Brooks, like, I think you could, if you want to do this type of correlation, you probably could knock him a little bit for that because he hasn't really played well there. But it's hard because it depends how much you value like course comp and that type of thing in this situation. I think this is going to play unlike what people are expecting.
I could definitely see it playing, really weird. I could see some weird scores all over the place. I would not be surprised to see, it's a par 70. I would not be surprised to see a 64 out there. And I would not be surprised for even, these elite guys that are going to come play, a top 20 player in the world to see an 80 out there. I don't think it's unreasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally with you. And then there's guys like, and I'll ask you about him because I don't think there's two guys. One, Justin Thomas, which I think the majority can just say that they are out. It's just not the vibe. The juju's bad right now, but odds are long and they're starting to get a little bit enticing. And then Xander, right? I tell myself I'm not going to do this every single time, but across the board, like he's playing really good golf. He just cannot finish.
Yeah, I think that I'm probably going to be out on them. I'm not going to play, direct head-to-heads against either of them either. But I cannot get around the Xander thing. I just don't think that he's quite there to be able. And if you're coming in and you're going to play a course like this in these conditions, I mean, you got to have everything firing, which I was talking about the mojo coming in. And for Xander, it just seems like he can't put all the pieces together in the course of the same 4 days, and it's just difficult. And JT, something's going on with like his mentality or something in his swing. He does not seem like the same guy. He doesn't have the same mojo. He doesn't have the same. You could almost see it with these guys. They come on the course and they just have that confidence or that aura, and you can see it. It comes through the screen. And JT used to be one of those guys. I haven't seen it probably since before the Masters this year. He just doesn't seem like the same player.
He seems so. I feel it's like ever since False Swing came out, like he's just been so weird. Something's off with him. A guy that I've been kind of anti this entire year, not this entire year, but definitely the last couple of weeks. He's probably been my overrated player, but I'm kind of buying back into him as Tigala. And I just listened to an interview and he is so excited to play. Like this is one of his favorite places to play. He likes the challenge. I've said that I think that his win will come at a major. I think he does better when there's high stakes. It's a difficult scenario. 4 of his top 15 finishes are in California. I don't like to lean too much into the California narrative, but I think there's something there. And I think of him as like, like a firm, fast, challenging course, it just sets up well for him. So I'm kind of I don't know that I can get there at like an outright right situation, but placement wise, he's an interesting play.
I mean, the California courses, it's a real thing because you look back. So the U.S. Open, Torrey Pines. I know Rahm's from Spain, but he's lived in Arizona and California, West Coast, since he was 18 years old. You go back, Homa's won a bunch of times in California. There is a reason they call him the King of California. You go back to the PGA Championship. Hi, Kaya. You go back to the PGA Championship that was played during COVID, and Colin Morikawa won, another California kid. There is something to living on the West Coast and playing in these conditions, which makes you familiar. So a guy like Sahith, who went to Pepperdine, Homa, Morikawa, both Cal guys, both LA guys. I do think, I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I'm just saying those guys usually will play well out here. And I do think that there's something to it. And I would back my money on some of those guys this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And then before we move on to a little bit of football, we're going to go with Dustin Johnson here this week. Whatever.
Yeah, kind of whatever. He's coming home, another LA guy. I mean, he lived in Sherwood for a long time. Paulina's from the area, so he's definitely familiar with it. But I think there may be too many dinners, nice dinners, sceney dinners in LA with Paulina and crew at Catch and shit like that around the course. A little too vibey for Dustin to be able to play well this week. Too many distractions.
I also think Dustin, I was saying this on Match Play, Dustin's good right now. He's one of the highest paid golfers literally ever. He doesn't really give it. We know that he's one of the best golfers. We know what he is. He's just vibing out. He's I want to spend some money. I want to make even more money. And I'm just going to show up when I need to and do my thing and play golf. And I find success. I find success. That's the vibe I get out of him.
No one is less excited for the PIF deal with the PGA than Dustin Johnson. Because he's oh, fuck, I have to work again? This is bullshit. I just got 200 mil to sit back and only work 13 days a year, 13 weeks a year. Now you're going to ask me to work more, maybe? Fuck that.
Yeah, he did an interview, I think it was today, and he's like, well, I mean, they're making the schedule, so I think I got at least till 2024. He's trying to ramble because he doesn't want to have to do that, but I think, it's probably going to go a different way. Any sleepers before we move on to some football?
Sleeper. He's not really a sleeper, but a guy that I'm kind of interested in based on, this courses can be kind of lengthy. Maybe Shane Lowry could be interesting this week. Sleepers down the board. It's a U.S. Open. I don't think that you're going to see anyone outside the top 20 or 30 win this tournament. It's too hard.
Yeah, I think Hatton's not a sleeper, but he's an interesting.
I like Hatton. Yeah, Hatton could be interesting this week. He's played really well.
Yeah, but he, again, similar to Rahm, these are the type of courses that I get nervous about because it takes one thing to piss them off. And they're
a little too fiery.
No, too much. The tantrum boys will not make it probably on my card.
The tantrum boys.
Yes, they are on my no bet list, and no tantrum boys. Can't do that.
Can't
do that. All right, let's move on to football here. It's almost NFL season. I'm so freaking happy. Stephon Diggs. A little bit of an overreaction, pretty usual for Twitter. He's not at Bill's mandatory minicamp. McDermott says he's very concerned. Then Diggs' agent comes out and is he's been here. He's going to be there. Anything to even make of this?
Yeah, I don't know what the context of McDermott saying that he was concerned about it. I don't know if he was here yesterday because the agent made it seem like he's in Buffalo. Yeah. He was there yesterday. He met with everybody yesterday. So I don't know if McDermott was well, why didn't he show up? Is he dead in the hotel room somewhere? Was that his concern? Or was it
right,
I'm worried about his contract or that he's not going to play for us this year? I didn't understand the context of why he was concerned about Stephon Diggs. But seems like everything's, I don't know. It was weird that Pelissero and Schefter tweeted it.
Yeah.
It made it seem like a bigger story than it was or maybe is. I don't really know.
And you know what? This shit happens all the time during this time of the year. This is what you hear. Oh, this person's not there. And then it ends up being fine come this season. Also, we know how Stephon Diggs is. Minnesota fans will laugh at Bills fans right now that are probably in hysterics. They know what the deal is. First time here, we know how this goes. Dalvin Cook. I don't think there's really been much rumbling about him. Are you still on the Broncos train, Miami train?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Broncos is interesting because of what I said on the previous show that he was hanging out with Sean Payton at the Kentucky Derby, and they might need a running back until Javonte Williams is back. And obviously that system that Payton has run is usually a two-headed monster, and I don't think that Samaje P. Ryan's going to be all too involved running the ball on the ground, or maybe more as a pass catcher. So that makes sense. Miami, I mean, that seems like a layup. It's Miami. They need a running back. I'm sure in that system, Mike McDaniel would find a great way to use him. Shanahan's system, like he would run for 1,200 yards easy if he's healthy. But I asked Justin last time, I'll ask you the question again. Do you think this comes down to play time, ability to, rush for a lot of yards, win a championship, or is it money? Because running backs, you only have so many opportunities to cash in.
Yeah.
This might be his last good opportunity to do so. So then you kind of look at the teams that have cap space and, does Miami make sense, or is a bigger offer going to come in?
Yeah, I think we've seen this start to happen probably the last couple weeks. Money is really the motive here. I think that Dalvin's probably less concerned about a ring in this scenario, especially he came out and said he's not interested in playing for $4 or $5 million a year, which is probably a little bit of a low ball. But I don't think anyone is going to go out and pay him $10 million a year. I don't think that's even something in the realm of where.
Look at all the free agents that came out this year at the beginning of free agency. So David Montgomery was probably top of the market. He made $6 million. Jamal Williams with the Saints, I think it was around the same amount of money. So talk about Dalvin Cook. Maybe he can get, if he got a 2-year, $16 million deal somewhere, that'd be good money for a running back in this market. And I'm not sure that that's out there.
Yeah, I know. And then there's some teams where, Dalvin is very explosive. There's still some free agents out there that you could probably get for much, much cheaper, depending on what the scenario is in your backfield. So it just depends. Zeke's still out there, Fournette's still out there, not comparing all the talents together, but it's not that there isn't other options too out there.
If you had to make a prediction right now, where do you think it's going to go?
In Miami, it makes the most sense, but at the same time, does it? They made that draft pick on purpose, but then you can't rely on most hurt. So I think that probably, for what they're trying to do over there in Miami, but I would much rather Denver.
Interesting. Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be some sort of wild card that pops up here.
That's what I'm thinking too, a random team that could be in the market, I feel like he's going to be kind of a brat about where he goes, to be honest. He's been in Minnesota so long. I could see this being a scenario where he really decides that's where I'm going for a reason.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested to see maybe a spot if Tony Pollard's injury doesn't go as well or doesn't recover, could he end up in Dallas?
Yeah, I would love that. Well, I wouldn't as an NFC East fan, but I would love that for other reasons. If Dallas ends up back with Zeke, it's going to be so hilarious.
That's 100% happening.
It's so
that's happening. They're going to sign him to a $1.5 million deal and right before training camp, and that'll be that. That's definitely happening.
Yeah. What do you think about Leonard Fournette? Where are you at with him?
I don't think he's going to be on a team to start the season.
Yeah. Don't really care. I don't know. Maybe the Texans, something weird like that. I don't know.
The Texans?
I don't know. Why not? Saquon Barkley,
Yeah, can you just explain to me what the hell is going on over there?
Sure. I'm going to lose my mind on Twitter. So Saquon has not signed the franchise tag. Therefore, for people that do not realize this, it is not it's a mandatory camp right now, but he won't get fined if he doesn't go. So technically it is not mandatory for him. His agent and him turned down a very, very luscious deal in season, which they probably are kicking themselves that they didn't take with, the landscape of what we're seeing with these running back contracts. Saquon is going to be a New York Giant. I feel pretty strongly about that. I think it probably comes down to the wire, though.
So do you think he's going to hold out of mini camp or of training camp for at least a couple of weeks then, yeah?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about he skips all the preseason games. There's only 3 of them now. And then the week before the season, 10 days before the season, he signs the franchise tag or he signs an actual deal?
He's not signing the franchise tag. I know that. I think that, so if this was still Gettleman world, I think we would be looking at this going up until week 1. But since it's a different era now, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get this done at least before training camp, because it is a distraction. Like, Saquon Barkley is obviously like one of the best players on the New York Giants. Like, they're going to need to get this done. This is what the media is going to talk about. They're obsessing over it right now, blaming it on Daniel Jones. It has nothing to do with Daniel Jones, honestly. This is like a totally different situation. But I think they get it done before training camp, if not like very early in.
And what do you think the contract looks like?
I don't know, because I think they turned down like $12.5 million a year, and the franchise tag is 10.1. I mean, I don't know what it's probably will be a couple year. I mean, I don't know what he wants. Like, what do you want? 11 million? Like, I don't know what the deal is, honestly.
Yeah, I'm sure that he wants, like, I'm guessing like 4 years, 60 million with like 35 million guaranteed. That's not happening. So maybe he gets like 3 years, 36 with 20 guaranteed, something like that. I'm not sure if he's going to want that though, because if he gets franchised this year at 10.1, and then he gets let's say he plays well, and he gets a double franchise next year.
Yeah.
So that bumps him up a lot. It'd be like 15. So you get 25 fully guaranteed that way. And if you sign a deal, 336, and you only get 20 that way over 3 years, does he just want to play out the franchise tag scenario and bet on himself?
He's honestly real, and I don't know what leverage he really thinks he has, especially with some of these guys that are on the free agency market right now. I don't know who's going to go out and give him over, he's not going to get 13 million a year. Like, it's not happening, dude. Like, it's just the way that like the NFL works right now.
Yeah, I mean, welcome to playing running back in the NFL right now. It is not a position that you want to play if you're trying to maximize the amount of money that you're going to make in the league, unless you're a guy like Christian McCaffrey, where you can basically play slot receiver also.
Right.
And that's the reason that he got the big deal that he did. And Saquon's great at catching the ball in the backfield, but it's just a little different. Maybe we should ask Dayball if he can play slot receiver. He might get an actual contract.
Yeah, Dayball's gonna be running like 4 wide receiver sets.
Run 4 wide, baby.
It's good. He loves them too. It's hilarious. Speaking of wide receiver, and then we'll get out of here. D-Hop. Any thoughts on D-Hop? I'm kind of over it at this point.
I mean, the D-Hop thing is exactly kind of where Dalvin is. Do you care about trying to win a title, or do you care about maximizing the amount of money that you make while you're in the NFL? And is there a way for those two to combine? I don't think there's a way for those two to combine with DeAndre Hopkins. He has to decide, do you want to end up in Buffalo or Kansas City making a $1 million deal?
Yeah.
Or, like he's doing right now, he's visiting the Titans and the Patriots and trying to get a bag. I think that's how this ends. I think he ends up probably somewhere on like a close to Odell-ish type deal, maybe less, $12 or $13 million a year. And he tries to secure the bag. And it's unfortunate because I would love to see him play with Mahomes or Allen or Herbert or someone like that. And instead he's going to play with Ryan Tannehill or Mac Jones. And that's just sad for everybody.
Oh, man. All right. Before we get out of here, who's winning the U.S. Open?
Max Homa. Give me that 22-1, baby. I'll take it.
And
how about you?
I'm going to ride with Dad. Sky Scheffler's going to figure it out. He only has to putt average, and he would be blowing everyone out of the water. Hopefully it happens here. We saw him working with a new putter potentially for this week. Let's see if that helps. I don't know if he'll actually be using it, but I'm going to ride with Scotty. I have that nice 12-1 future that I'm hoping ends up cashing. Would be very nice. But thanks for joining us, guys. Subscribe, like. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.